This missile landed today in my hometown, shot at Israel by Iran. Watch this. Right in the desert, very close to my sister's home. So I've received this message this morning from my sister in my family WhatsApp group. Let me read for you. There was a hit in Eilat. My sister Nusi is asking. She is not in Israel right now, and she is worried, concerned, and she's asking everyone is okay. My mom answers, yes, beseder habibti. Yes, everything is fine, habibti. And then my sister Hila shares this image. My picture. She's been doing art. She's a social worker, and after October 7th, she started doing art to help express all the feelings and the emotions that she had during that time. And she said this. My picture just fell down from the shelf from the shockwave of the explosion that happened in the mountains right behind us. So let me show you that again. So that missile here is literally hitting bomb. That's in Eilat. I'm not giving information any locations here. These videos have been, shared already and circulating. And it hit in the desert, and that's a shockwave. Now that's a pretty big explosion, guys. This is far away. This is far away, and that's in the desert. And if you can see these white dots in the bottom, these are factories, so they're quite big. So that cloud, that explosion, this is very heavy munition that came and landed, aimed at a touristic city full of civilians and citizens. Now here's where things get even more crazy, because as I was doing the show with Ravin, the Iranian guy, when we were talking about what's happening in Iran and him explaining what's going on with his people and how the massacres are still going on, I received this video from a guy, I'm not going to share his name right now, living in Jerusalem. It says, I've just witnessed cluster munition flying over my head to go and land on Jerusalem. Now, there's been a lot of criticism, even by the Arab Muslim countries towards Iran, that they're willing to go as far as even bombing Al-Aqsa, which is the Temple Mount where the Islam, when they came and colonized and conquered Israel, they built their temple on top of the Jewish Temple Mount and on top of Jerusalem, which was considered a very holy city for the Christians. They were more focused on fighting the Christians than fighting the Jews. In general, Islam started as more of an opposing political, military religion that was meant to destroy Christianity and take over what belonged to Christianity. So they've been shooting cluster munition into Jerusalem. For those of you who don't know, let me show you the video and then we can talk about it. This is what it means, cluster munition. And I've received that. That's the message. Just now over my house in Abu Tur, Jerusalem, I caught a cluster open up. So a citizen in Israel was looking up, by the way, American citizen, and he just looks up and he says, whoa, they've just shot with a shotgun, basically missile, was full of like explosive bombs over Jerusalem. You can't aim these things. This is meant to cause as much damage to civilian population as possible. Watch the video. See this? Right here. That's when it opens up. So the main, let me explain this. So you got the main missile is still above, and then he opens his belly. So he's still flying with the projectile, aiming to hit somewhere. And then the belly opens up and release all the other cluster munitions that starts falling. Bam, 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 bam. There's something about Iran that, Hezbollah in Iran and the Houthis, why they love cluster munition. Imagine going with a shotgun into a bar that have explosive, bullets and just start shooting it. You don't need to aim. You're not trying to hit a certain target. You're not trying to take down the bad guy. You're trying to get as many people as possible. So cluster missiles is the same concept. It's like sending, 70 Ahmeds to go and blow themselves around the city with suicide vests, only you can bring it from the sky. That's why they love it so much, because you just shoot a missile and it goes and it opens up and just drops as many bombs as possible into civilian population. So what you're seeing here is the rocket, and then it opens up and then you see the clusters falling. Let's watch it again. Look at that. Okay, no need to show you the rest of the stuff there, but you're getting the idea of what is going on. Now, for those of you who are still wondering, thank you so much, by the way, Camilos, for the prayers. My family is safe and well. And for those of you who are wondering right now, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys in this war? Let's just put it that way. Israel and America are shooting missiles at military targets, precise rockets and missiles and munitions, trying to take down as many terrorists and radical fanatic, suicidal, genocidal, religious Muslims who have kidnapped the whole country and are, as we're speaking, engaging in massacring their own people in a mass execution, tens of thousands. So Israel and America is literally trying to avoid hitting the Persian people, the Iranian people, doing everything they can. And yes, mistakes do happen sometimes, but in general, they're doing everything they can to avoid it. Meanwhile, Iran is doing everything they can to hurt innocent civilians and to kill innocent people, all the way to dropping cluster munition over Jerusalem, over Eilat, over civilian, populated, heavy civilian populated cities, in order to kill as many people as you can. Now, another very interesting point for those of you who start thinking, yeah, Iran are the defenders of the IRGC, are the defenders of Iran, Hezbollah defending Lebanon, Hamas is defending Gaza from the Jewish, from the Israeli aggressors. So let me ask you this. As you can see, Israel have spent billions of dollars creating systems in order to defend its civilians. They have done such a great job that the reason that my sister and this guy and everyone in Israel are still alive and there's barely any casualties, with as much as Iran is trying to go and kill as many, murder as many innocent people, is because you have the red alerts. There's an indication in Israel that would literally lock on the target that is shot towards Israel, will send a notification in Israel to people that they know that it's going to be in that area, northern part of Israel, center part, southern part. Everybody get ready. There's a launch of rockets into Israel. Then as it comes closer, it will narrow it down to a few cities. These cities, be ready, get ready to go to bomb shelters. Then it will go down to the point 15 minutes before, it will say, or half an hour, it's going to land in this particular city. So it's not going to send an indication to other cities, because you don't need to bother them right now. We know exactly where it's going to land. On top of that, you have the Iron Dome, you have the laser beams, you have, which is literally operational. They're going around shooting missiles and even some of these clusters, but it's quite hard with clusters because it just comes. Imagine trying to intercept all the shells that are flying, the balls are flying from a shotgun. And then you have the hits, the arrow. And then you have the Air Force, and then you have the IDF, and then there's bomb shelters in every street corner. So in Israel, they have done everything they can to protect their people from attacks like we're seeing right now from Iran, which is the responsibility of a government, to protect your own citizens. That's why you're there, to give them a better life and protect them. In Iran, in Lebanon, in Gaza, if they've been chanting that they want to go to war with Israel, war with America for the last 40 years, literally, death to America, death to Israel, al-maut al-America, al-maut al-Israel, going around just chanting, we want to go to war with you, we want to fight you, knowing that Israel and America are way stronger than them, have better air force, much better rockets and missiles, have nuclear weapons, but still, bring it on, we're gonna go, we're gonna destroy you, tomorrow we're gonna bathe in your blood, tomorrow we're gonna walk in the blood of your people in Jerusalem, we're gonna kill and massacre all of you, 9/11 is gonna come back, keep saying. So if they're the good guys, you'd expect them to have at least a bomb shelter for their people, to invest in some measures of stopping hostile rockets and missiles from hitting their civilians. But here you go, guys. It was never the intention. They never cared about their civilians. Their civilians are actually there to serve them as human shields, as a way that they can hide behind, so they can shoot a rocket at you and go and hide behind women and children. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, modern day Muslim armies. That's how they operate. Show me one that have not done it. Whenever they go to war, what they do is they put their women and children in front of them and they hide behind them. So far, 100% success rate in terms of my analysis right now. Syria is doing it. Lebanon is doing it. Hamas is doing it. Palestine is doing it. Iran is doing it. The Houthis are doing it. So show me. Yeah, you come and say the Gulf countries. Well, you know what? They haven't been to war yet. I wonder how will they react. Will they be brave? I hope so. But so far, it's 10 out of 10. And we're seeing it with Iran, like any other Islamic, radical, fanatic, cuckoo head, cow poop, camel poop, batshit crazy regime, going around and just trying to kill as many innocent people as they can, meanwhile trying to maximize the damage on their own people. This is, for anyone who is still wondering, the justification of this war and who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. This is, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening in this war between Iran to the USA to Israel. For those of you who just joined, like Phoenix right now, and etc., welcome to the show, guys. And why peace is the justification for violence? I might have missed the rest of the conversation, but I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean by peace justification to violence? Why they hide in schools and hospitals? Exactly. Actually, today, Israel, or yesterday, Israel have sent special forces to enter Lebanon, including the Navy SEALs and others, and they have raided a school in Lebanon that was packed with weapons, munitions, massacre, like literally RPGs, rocket launchers, machine guns, explosive devices, packed like is as if it's some kind of an arsenal for a brigade that is ready to go to war. A school. So we're seeing the same tactic used in Lebanon, again, used by Muslim fanatic, or in this case, Shia fanatics, who are pretending to be the defender of their countries, but meanwhile they're kidnapping their own people and holding them at gunpoint as hostage, and often even hiding in the most precious and vulnerable places in your society: nurseries, kindergartens, hospitals, and schools. Like, these should be the places that you should protect the most. But in Islam, these are the places that you will actually hide your fighters, the brave fighters, that will go and hide behind these women and children, because that's what they are: pathetic cowards. For those of you who joined the show right now, I'm going to show you again. There was a missile that was launched at my hometown and landed not far from my sister's house. Literally, she said the painting that she had on the wall fell down from the explosion. And then I went and I started looking with other resources, and I got this video, and now we know why the picture fell down. So this is over the Red Sea. By the way, Jordan is right next to it. Egypt is right next to it. Saudi Arabia. So if you miss, you hit one of the 10. They don't care. Look at the size of the explosion. Now look at the building under it. Some of them are buildings. So that's a very big missile that was aimed to massacre as many civilians possible. This is a touristic city full of hotels, full of, hospitals and houses, schools, kindergarten. That's not a military target there. They're aiming at civilians. Now, as I was talking in a podcast yesterday, an American friend living in Jerusalem sent me another video showing a cluster munition that was shot by Iran towards Jerusalem opens up in the sky. Here's the message that he sent me just now over my head. Yesterday, just now over my head, over my house in Abu Tur, Jerusalem. I caught a cluster open up. Watch it. So look now. That's when the cluster opens. So right now that shiny thing is the main missile, and it just opened, and the belly right now is releasing all these bombs, are right now falling over Jerusalem. So I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Shooting a cluster munition into civilian populated areas, like walking with a shotgun into a restaurant and just, shooting without noticing, because you don't need to aim. That's the whole idea with this munition. You want to hurt as many civilian possible without needing to aim, and you want to also make it very, very hard for the Western intercepting systems to intercept it, because once the cluster opens, it's going to be very hard for the Iron Dome, for the laser beam, to take them all down. Right now, Israel is probably going to get to a place where they will be able to do that, because Israel is like Tony Stark. They will always find a solution to the problem. They're like Batman. They will find a solution to counter this problem. But if you haven't seen, part of the strategy of Iran during this war was to overwhelm Israel and other Muslim countries in the Middle East and US bases, to overwhelm them with as many missiles as possible. Now, that have proven to be very ineffective in the last 12-day war. Israel have intercepted more than 90 to 95% of these missiles, and the 5 to 7% that actually managed to enter, often they were not intercepted on purpose because they were not flying toward an Israeli or any civilian areas. They were just going to fall in the ocean or in the desert, so you don't need to waste munition on it. And some did manage to go and reach. So with the frustration of that, they've developed even a more sinister strategy, which is overwhelm them with as many missiles and drones and rockets as much as you can, and in between them send also cluster munitions, or behind them. That way the Iron Dome will go bomb, 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 taking them down. The laser beam will go Star Wars on it, and just when that is happening, one of these cluster kind of cargo will go and just open its belly and just drop as many grenades as you can at civilian population. Now comes the $1 million question that when I ask all the critics of this war right now, especially on the woke right, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fontizzi, and his friends in the US, would you trust Iran with a nuclear bomb? Giving everything that you've seen so far, them cutting the internet on their own population and massacring tens of thousands of their civilians, women and children included, them violating little girls in prisons. That's literally a religious fatwa that was given before they execute them. That is literally a religious command that they have there by the Ayatollah, because a woman that was violated, if she's not married, will not go to heaven. That's their belief. So if you're a little girl and something sexually happened to you and you're not a virgin anymore, you will not go to heaven. Doesn't matter if you were attacked by your uncle or your father, or you're 9 years old and you were attacked by your 57 wannabe husband that decided to do that to you. So they're massacring their own people. They're shooting right now on everyone indiscriminately, even shooting at Lebanon. Lebanon was literally, they pretended to be the Patreon of Lebanon for so long. They were their ally, their base of operation. They're shooting at Lebanon right now, at their allies. They're shooting at Qatar. They're shooting at Doha. They're shooting at Saudi Arabia. They're shooting at everyone. They're shooting at Turkey. They're shooting at European targets, at American targets. So, would you feel safe with them having a nuclear weapon? Knowing what you know right now, ask yourself that question, because the next question that will follow will kind of show you where you're standing. If you come and say, no, I don't feel safe with Iran having a nuclear bomb, then no one, thank you. I'm seeing people here saying no, right? Please show me in the comments here. Would you feel safe with Iran having a nuclear weapon? Please, I want to get some kind of a feedback here. So then comes the question. All right, you don't feel safe. Obviously, look what they're doing, shooting cluster munitions at civilians, sponsoring terrorism around the globe, even attacking their own allies. Then it should be no brainer that you want America and Israel to go and stop them. Thank you so much. I'm seeing some sane people here in the crowd that are, clearly, I think most people would come and say, no, please, God, someone stop that. We don't want Iran. I said it 2 times. Thank you, Dr. 27 CNB. Any person with half a brain in his head. Oh, I like this image of this guy. Any person with half a brain in his head will come and say, please, God, don't let them have a nuclear weapon. Now, we also have reports from numerous countries, numerous espionage agencies in Team West, not only Israel and CIA, that said, hey, they're not listening to us. They're still trying to build it. That's why all the sanctions, they didn't put sanctions for fun. They didn't decide to come and sanction Iran. It was literally to prevent a war against them. They said, listen, we don't want to have a war. Let's put sanctions on them. Maybe I won't trust them with water guns. Sol Amorelis. Yes, I won't trust them with water guns as well. I won't trust them with a pillow fight. They're going to put bricks in the pillows. So, with that in mind, it is beyond any reasonable doubt that you don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. So now they've been working relentlessly, and there's numerous, not only by the Mossad, who have brought you all these evidence. Now, one day the world will come and say, thank you, Mossad, you saved us. Thank you, Israel. Again, by the way, they did the same thing in the Iraq war when Israel went, the first far one, when Israel went and bombed the nuclear facility that Saddam Hussein was building. Meanwhile, Saddam Hussein was using mustard weapon on the Iranians, by the way, and on other Muslims, including his own people, melting them alive. Everybody went and said, oh, Israel, you're warmonger. You're dragging us to wars. What are you doing? Especially Europe. Stop it. Au revoir, sacre bleu. And all of a sudden, everybody like, oh my God, thank God Saddam Hussein did not have a nuclear weapon. So that was definitely thanks to Israel. We're not talking later on the war that went and they didn't find any weapons of mass destruction. We're talking before. That was undoubtedly Israel saved planet Earth again. Now, Israel has been giving you so much evidence, and not only Israel, every other country, showing you that they're planning on building a nuclear bomb. So I come back to the question. Would you feel safe with Iran having a nuclear weapon, knowing everything that you know right now? Most reasonable, sane people, unless they are officially terrorist supporters or supporters of Iran, the IRGC, or suicidal maniacs, that want to see the world, the West, burn down, most people tell you no. Please, God forbid, we don't want them to have nuclear weapon. Imagine, that's literally the worst people in the world that you can give them, because they're fanatic religious. They believe it's the right thing to do. They believe that their imam, that their fulfillment of all the prophecies will happen once they will nuke America and Israel. So that is literally their goal. So then comes the question is, if you know it and you still are against this war, then what are you doing? Do you want them to have a nuclear weapon? Do you want them to wipe out all of Israel and just completely annihilate the only Jewish state on the face of this earth? By that, probably risking destroying planet Earth, because today we know that once you use one nuclear bomb, you're probably going to destroy life for all humans. Maybe 10% will survive the nuclear winter that will follow. Do you want them to nuke America? They're saying they want to do that. Do you want Islam to overcome Christianity and conquer planet Earth and enslave us all and put us into Sharia law and concentration camps? Do you want that? Because if you don't want that, then why are you not cheering for America and Israel for going and doing that job and stopping that? And I would even come and say, why is Europe not joining it? Now, we are witnessing something very, very interesting when it comes to Europe right now. This is basically Europe have just placed the last nail in the coffin of NATO. Europe have literally just buried themselves with NATO. When America went out of its way all the way to the Middle East to stop a neighboring country in the Middle East called Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, Israel joined. America called, Israel joined. They went together, side by side, shoulder by shoulder, fought in the most impressive airstrike the world have ever seen, including espionage, special forces, and everything. America then wanted to test. I don't think America need Europe. They don't need them. But they wanted to test them. Are you with us or not with us? You keep saying, NATO, NATO, please come and save us. Well, here we go. Let's ask you. Europe, come. We need your help. The stairs of Hormuz, we need your assistance there. What did Europe say? Not my war. Not my problem. Ooh. Donald Trump came and said, gotcha, guys. Now we know. So they had a moment of testing to see, are they an ally that can be trusted? And they have proven beyond any doubt that they're not. Who actually sent help? Argentina. Here we go. Here's a country that have some kind of a clarity about what's happening and who is at war with who. Team West against radical Islam, Team West against Russia and China. It's happening. They've been in this war for a very long time. It's just that Team West forgot that they're playing the same game. Like Team West just left the table, left their cards, and went to do something else. We're still playing a card game here. We're still poker. Everybody's still going all in. Everybody's still going all in. You just have a lot of chips, and you said like, okay, I can go and just have a break in the margarita at the pool. But no, guys, you're still in the same game. You're still on the same planet, and there's forces trying to destroy this planet. So NATO have proven beyond any doubt that he's not an effective ally. And I tell you what, America has been seeing that. Why do you think they're talking about taking Greenland? Why do you think they're talking about, all kind of things that they want to do in regards to NATO? Not only that they knew, and right now that was a proof to them, NATO is not an efficient ally. They're not there. You can't count on them. We're literally fighting a nuclear genocidal sponsor of terrorism that is affecting Europe, that have ballistic missiles that are reaching Europe, that want to nuke basically the West. And they can't reach America. They can reach Europe. And we go all the way to fight this. And what does Europe do? Not our war. Also, Europe is becoming Muslim. I think I've read some statistics. In some countries in Europe, more than 80% of the young children in schools right now are in some way or another coming from a background of migrants. Now, if it's Ukrainian migrants or Israeli migrants, or in general, Western non-Muslim migrants, they have nothing to worry about. They're going to come and respect Druze migrants. They're going to come respect your culture, adapt to it. But if it's Islamic migration, then probably 8 out of 10, if not even more, they will not adapt your way of life. They will not have loyalty to you. They will have loyalty to their own religion and to their own people where they came from, Afghanistan, Syria, Palestine. And they're saying it. I'm not making this up. So it takes one generation, guys, to destroy a nation. And let me tell you what, it happened faster than you think. It's like having a cup of water, You're filling your cup of water, glug, 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 and all of a sudden the water comes in. And then before you know, everything starts spilling. Everything starts spilling out. You're like, oh my God, the desk is full of water right now. Good water. The desk is full of water right now. What can I do? And you can't stop it. And reality change. Everything is wet. Without knowing, guys, you will wake up to find that Europe have forever changed. It's going to come very soon. You're going to wake up one day and realize that everybody in the street are speaking against the West, that they have values that are extremely anti-Semitic, that are extremely anti-Christian, that are extremely anti-democracy, that are extremely pro-jihad and Islam. And it will be the main talk in the streets, the main talk in the social media, and you will see all the influencers jumping align with it. Because most influencers, I'll tell you seriously, most influencers are not very impressive people. Most of these celebrities and these, like, talk show, they're not impressive people. They haven't been battle tested. They haven't proven themselves. They have lived a very, very comfortable life. And in general, they enter the swamp called, social media, influencer world. And all they care is about likes. All they care is about how can they be famous? How can they get their channel to grow? How can they get more money, more fame? And they will sell their soul to whoever the highest bidder. So you will see very fast mainstream media, influencers, everybody shifting, and all of Europe all of a sudden will become a Muslim caliphate very, very fast. Very, very fast. You don't believe me? Look what's happening to the conservative young right wings in America. From having them being very, very, all about family and values, all about Christianity, all about, standing with Israel, standing with, their Messiah, Jesus, who was a Jew, and standing with the Judeo-Christian values and standing against racism and standing against Nazism. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're all about pro-Nazism, pro-jihad, led and run by no wife, no job, no responsibilities, young influencers sitting in their basement. And, they replaced Jordan Peterson and Joko with Nick Fontese and Sneeko, like so fast, so fast. The idols and the role models of the young Americans have moved from respected military personnel and family men and psychologists all the way to degraded, self-proclaimed Nazis, basically. So you see how fast things change. That's my point. You ignore the young generations, and all of a sudden you're dealing with adult stuff. And all of a sudden they come in numbers. And America is starting to realize that Europe is very, very soon gonna be predominantly run and led by Muslim factions, and that the white and the Christians in Europe and the Western people, most of them are ineffective, completely ineffective. I mean, there is people that are standing and fighting and saying no, we're not. But you look at the results. Their governments are pushing them down, shutting them down, canceling them, silencing them. Meanwhile, they're sponsoring and supporting more and more invasion of Islam into their culture. It got to the point that even countries like, I think it was Dubai and the Emirates, came and said, we are not gonna sponsor any students that will go study in the UK anymore, because we're afraid that they will come more radical into their Muslim countries. So Muslims are afraid of sending other young Muslims into universities in the West, because they're afraid that they will become radical Muslims, and they don't want them in their own country because they've been fed up with them, because they've seen how it destroyed their own countries. They said, oh, this is terrible. We don't want these people here. But now we can't send them to the UK because they'll come back. I can assure you that the same thing is going to come very soon, that they won't want to send them into LA, into Michigan, into New York, and into Austin, Texas. 100%. They will come and say, we can't send them there, guys. We can't. Canada. They come back as suicide bombers. You send them to university to study there in the US, or they'll come back as suicide bombers, because the Islamic indoctrination in the West have got so radical and so unchecked and unfiltered under the guise of free speech that you just can't do anything about it. And the West is not willing to do so. I think America is seeing that this is the end of the alliance of NATO. You can't trust them. And even if you wanted to trust them, they're incapable of defending themselves. They've been sitting around eating buchen and just playing their own games, laughing at America, laughing at Israel. Here you go, guys. Keep laughing. Soon enough, and I promise you, I wish I was wrong, soon enough, what you saw on October 7, you'll start seeing in your streets. I promise you. And how do I know that? And I wish it wasn't. How do I know that? Because I know Islam very well. And I know the Muslims that you allowed to enter your continent very well. I hear them. I spent a lifetime in the special forces in Israel hunting them down, fighting them, studying them. I know exactly how they think and how they behave, and I know exactly what do they think about you in the West, exactly how they think about you, and exactly what they think about your women and your children and your students and your professors and your woke and your left and even about your right. I know how they think about it. And I know how they plan to exploit you. And I'm seeing it happening step by step for the last 20 years, step by step. And I feel like I'm standing outside of a shop and there's a window and I'm trying to shout to all the people, get out, wake up. And they're not listening. They close the curtains on me. They don't want to listen. So I'm telling you right now, you will see October 7 happening in America. You will see October 7 happening in Europe, because that's the people that you brought in and that's what they want to do. And the bigger numbers they become, the more likely it happen. Don't believe me? In the last 2 weeks, we already had more than 5 terrorist attacks in the US, all done by under the name of the Muslim Ummah. You have no idea how much is happening in Europe. They're just trying to hush it under the table. Every Christmas here is getting worse and worse. Literally, last Christmas, they had anti-tank World War II cement barricades placed under Christmas, outside of Christmas markets. Not only one place. I've traveled the country. I've seen it in almost every Christmas market. You go to a Christmas market in Germany right now, you feel like you're entering a zombie apocalypse movie. You feel like, okay, I need to get a chainsaw. I need to jump on the roof right now, get a sniper gun. Where's a shotgun? How am I gonna, where's a shop that I can go and loot right now and take some cans and go and hide in a bunker? Like, that's how we feel. And I've seen that evolution. So I can assure you, you are again reaching to the point where the cup of water is going to get filled and filled and filled, and it's just going to pour out. And jihad is going to start pouring out right now over your continent. And it's going to be terrible, guys. It's going to be terrible, because I can assure you, most places in the US and definitely in Europe are not even remotely close to be able to handle an invasion of thousands of barbaric, murderous Muslims who are running with machine guns and machetes, going around shooting, killing, looting, and beheading and violating your women and just kidding. You can't. It will, in Israel, one of the most highly trained countries in terms of the average Joe knowing how to fight and how to pick a gun. Women in Israel went and took down 10, 20, 30, even 50 Nukhba, special forces of Hamas. Women, Israeli mothers, went and grabbed a gun and a pistol and took down 10, 15 mothers. 19, 18 years old girls in Israel jumped on a tank. They knew how to drive a tank. Your girls don't know how to drive tanks. These girls, beautiful girls, jumped on a tank and drove it and took down more than 300 terrorists, ran them over like GTA, going around. Sharon was doing her nails. Here's another jihadi. Took him down. Going around, driving, took a pin out of her hair, threw it, hit Ahmed in the eye. Wait, they were literally girls, 19 years old. That's Israeli girls for you. And even in Israel, the number of casualties have reached 1,200 in one day. One of the biggest manslaughter massacres in modern history that happened in the most brutal, horrific way in Israel. Now, we're not talking about all the other Israeli special forces and etc. that went there and literally fought them to the teeth. The army was not involved for the first 12 to 16 hours. It was civilian, mothers, daughters, men, children all went and brought the fight to Hamas, Islam's best, and kicked their ass in a way that you can't even imagine, smeared the ground with them, humiliated them, destroyed them, and right now completely wiped down Gaza. Completely. So that is Israel, caught by surprise and was able to stand under after paying a very heavy price. What do you think is going to happen in Amsterdam? What do you think is going to happen in Berlin? What do you think is going to happen in France, in the UK, when they start running and doing that to you? In LA? I mean, in Switzerland, I think the Swiss people will give them a taste. Every Swiss guy have a gun, they have bunkers, and they're ready. They're ready. Some places in Europe, they will stand. Poland, don't get there. They're ready for you. But most of Europe have no chance. Most of America have no chance. No chance. In Texas, don't go there. Don't go there. If you Ahmed Mustafa Abdul Jabbar, don't go there. Not gonna end up well for you. In New York, LA, Michigan, in Canada, Canadians are so polite they will tell you sorry after you shoot them. Oh, I'm sorry. They're so polite they will say sorry. If you bump into a Canadian and you drop your coffee on him, many of them will tell you, oh, I'm so sorry. They're so polite and so friendly. You know how easily exploited. In Holland, we are sitting ducks. Yes, man. Yes, man. I'm telling you, guys, I'm not making this up. You are in such deep trouble. And right now, after Europe have showed America, your greatest, most important ally, America, United States of America, is the reason why not all of Europe right now speak in Germany and going and saying Zig Heil Magnifica, like that movie with Hitler standing on a dinosaur. Literally, that is the only reason. America. And then America comes and tests you and says, hey, come help us. We need you. Not a war. What's going to happen when America will be fed up with NATO, which I think is very soon, and will decide we don't need them. They're going to turn Muslim anyway any soon. We're going to be at war with them very, very soon. 25 years from now, the U.S. will be at war with America unless the U.S. will become Muslim. The U.S. will be at war with Europe unless the U.S. will become Muslim. Like, seriously, that's like a prediction right now, numbers, science. You know, we're not making this up. Physics, science, horoscope, call it whatever you want. Demographics, it is what is happening, guys. Birth rate, ideology, ideological subversion, your academy, your universities, everything is messed up here. You got things backwards in a way that you can't even imagine. So back to the story, where should you stand when it comes to the war of Iran versus America and Israel? I think it's very important that you make it black and white. Sometimes in life, gray, not everything's black and white. Maybe. I need to think about this deeper. I think most of the time things are black and white in life. Just people are allergic because they feel like I'm comfortable with this reality. But some places, okay, they're gray. It's not so clear. This war, there's two teams. I want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, fanatic, radical Muslim regime that is executing, massacring its own people in the tens of thousands and shooting missiles right now at anything indiscriminately into civilian population, including cluster missiles, including at their allies, chanting they want to nuke Israel, want to nuke America, they want to destroy Europe, want to kill all the Christians. Do you want them to have a nuclear weapon? Or you don't want them to have a nuclear weapon? And that is the only question that should be asked right now in relations to the war between the US and Iran. No other question. No other question. I'm telling you, what's at stake here is so much worse than what you can imagine. Because if they will have a nuclear weapon, they are religious fanatics who believe that this is what needs to be done in their religion for their hidden imam to come back and for the salvation and the victory and triumph of the Muslim Ummah over planet Earth, enslaving us all, taking our women and children, and killing the rest. That is literally their vision. It needs to start with them annihilating Israel with a nuke and annihilating America with a nuke. That is how they see it. So, I think it's quite clear which side you should pick. And either side that you pick will just clearly also show where you're standing. There's no in between. Yes, you can come and say there's useful idiots. Well, there's always useful idiots. You ignore them. They're irrelevant. Like useful idiots. I think that's one of the weaknesses with democracy. One of the weaknesses of democracy is that we allow useful idiots to vote. I don't find a better solution for that. I think so democracy is right now the best system, but they have like a serious weakness. But anyway, let me jump here and just say thank you to a few people that contribute to the channel here. Mr. Kemalos 5447. Thank you so much for that. That's very kind of you. Iran attacked Argentina twice in the 90s. President Javier Milei, I like Javier, is a tremendous ally of America and Israel. He sees the world for what it is. Yes, yes. I'm telling you. Argentina have put to shame all of Europe. They have more moral clarity and sense of urgency than right now all of the leaders in Europe. Well, all of the leaders that are making the calls in Europe. I'm sure there is, great leaders in Europe, but, they're just not able to mobilize Europe to do what is needed. Marcel de Genais. Marcel de Genais. All right, cool name. Nice picture. Your speech is important, and so is your good knowledge. Thank you so much, Marcel. Highly appreciate that. I'm trying to do my best here. And I tell you why, guys. Might be selfish, but it's just because I really care about the West. I really care about the future of the West. I'm in love with life in the West. Every one of us that have a hot shower over his head on demand, I'm not joking, need to be in love with living in the West and with living in this generation. I once brought a team of 12 church and tribe leaders from Africa, from a faraway remote jungle in the mountains. Don't ask me how I got there. They think I got lost. I don't think I got lost, but ended up, they found me, I found them. Great friendship. I brought 12 of these leaders into Israel. Some of them have never seen a mirror before or a real reflection outside of just the water. When they were in Israel and they landed in the airplane, first time they're flying, and I picked them up from the airport and I bring them to Jerusalem, and we hosted them at a local hotel that a friend of mine owned. The first question they asked me is they came and said if I can give them a tour of how to use the toilets, because I've never used toilets like this. And one of them comes and tells me, Mr. Mansour, you have hot water in cold water coming from the same hole in the wall. And I'm like, he's talking about a sink. And I'm like, yeah, we all do. And he's like, but I see no river outside. And then it hit me like, wow, we take so many things for granted where we live. I took them to see Capernaum, Kfar Nahum, the village, one of the villages that we know that Jesus actually gave Bible study there. They had a house group. You can still find like the house where they prayed, and someone was probably being a little bit bored during the sermon, so he started drawing all kind of drawings on the wall or they're still there. So you still have real archaeology showing the disciples and Jesus, Yeshua Mashiach in that area. So I took them to see that place. And there was a guy there, Godfrey, or one of the guys there. I think he was like 80 something years old, but sharp. Some of these tribe leaders from Uganda, I'm telling you, they live a very healthy life. They were sharp, they were strong, they were brilliant. But they've never seen these kind of things. They live in a very different reality. So hear this out, because this is crazy. I come out from one of the tours there with a tour guide, because a friend of mine was teaching them. So I took a break, and then I saw this guy standing there leaning over kind of the bridge, looking down at some of the archaeology. And I came and asked him, what are you thinking? What's going through your head? And he looked at me and said, you people have built this. And I look at him and I says, well, not me, not we, but yeah, I mean, the Greeks were here, the Romans, the Jews, the people who lived in that area, they built this, yes. And he looks at me, he's like, you people are amazing. And I'm like, why? And he's like, we still don't build like this. And then it hit me. They live in mud houses that is basically, you take mud, you take wheat, like hay, you mix it with cow poop. I'm not kidding. You put it in these ovens, you burn it, and then it becomes brick that are made out of mud, red bricks, and you build. So that is right now in some places in Africa the peak of their technology. Our archaeology for them is technology. Let that sink in. Our archaeology from 2,000 years ago for some of these people was technology. So when you are living in this life in the West with the freedom, with the rights, with the privileges, with ChatGPT and Amazon Prime, when you're living in this reality and you have satellites, you have Teslas driving without drivers, you have bicycles with helmets that have blinking lights, you have police officers that will go in the streets and protect you, you have supermarkets that you can get a pineapple. You can be living in Germany and eat a pineapple any day of the year. When you're living in that reality, you have school systems that are teaching your kid science. My kid knows how to operate a tablet. When you're living in the future, like we are right now, you need to understand how grateful and how thankful you need to be that you're living in the West, that you're not living in Afghanistan or in Syria, or as sad as me to say, in Iran, or any other country that have been taken by Islam and how was left without serious regulations internally on themselves will collapse to become a failing Muslim country. And the only ones that are not failing is because they're on it. They're on it, fighting Islam from within, not letting it destroy, because it's a self-destructive system that just can't coexist with the West. And sooner or later, any Muslim country in the world will face the same dilemma. The failing ones will not face any dilemma. They will just go back to what they believe, the days of the Prophet, and they will go against technology. They're literally saying that teaching math and teaching English is a sin in Syria. Literally, they're banning it from schools. So Afghanistan, other places. So the countries that are not will come to the point that they will be challenged to either reform Islam drastically from within, and then it will end up looking like Judaism and Christianity, or abandon Islam completely or collapse under Islam, because sooner or later we'll catch up with them. Sooner or later. The people will revolt and say, look at you, you're wearing a suit, you're wearing a tie, you're using a phone, you're not saying you want to kill the Jews, you're defying the words of Muhammad the Prophet, you're not saying we should go and slaughter all the Christians, you're defying the direct commandments of the Prophet, you're not a real Muslim, and they'll sooner or later will catch up with these leaders and will massacre them. Unless they will make a reform that will come from within. Yes, in some places math is haram. Funny, right? Because there used to be a time where Islam was so proud of math and other stuff. But I tell you what, they were proud of these things when they adapted the culture of Persia. They took a lot of things that they stole from Persia, and they were proud of it in the beginning, but then they destroyed it. So either way, guys, just wanted to tell you, this war is still going. This is probably one of the most important wars that the West have engaged in a very long time. 100%. This war is more important than the war of October 7. And let me explain before people get upset. The war of October 7 was a war about defending Israel and about bringing back the hostages. Once October 7 became October 8, that war was basically over. They didn't have a chance to genocide Israel again. They tried. They couldn't. They failed. So now Israel could have chose to leave the hostages and negotiate and I don't know what. But either way, Israel was safe. And it was contained. This war is literally Iran trying to reach a nuclear weapon. And if they reach that weapon, oh boy, we have just entered the end game. how close we are to doomsday, Armageddon, end of the world as we know it, how close we are. We have literally placed it in the hands of fanatic, messianic, religious cuckoo heads that are willing to massacre and destroy their own people, let alone what they're going to do to Christians, Jews, and other people, LGBTQ, and who knows what, and he, she pronouns fluffies. So wake up, wash your face, look at the mirror, and ask yourself, okay, I have the whole picture right now, or at least the relevant key factors in that picture. You will never have the whole picture, but at least the relevant key factors. Now, I need to choose. Am I on Team America Israel? Am I on Team Jihad? Or am I on Team Europe, which is basically enabling Team Jihad to reach their end game? Europe is in no way working as a factor right now in making the future of this planet a better place. In no way. They're very comfortable. It's a very nice place to live, but they're not leading the world in science and technology and AI, in safety and security. They're not. They're just very easily exploited by the bad players who are coming to plunder and take the riches. So Europe, with all my respect, and I live in Europe and I love it, that's what I'm saying. Pick your side, guys. It's very, very important. I'm going to take a little bit of time now. I have 4 minutes before it's 1 hour, and I'm going to try to answer some questions. So I will try to read quickly through the, lots of comments here. And see if I can answer. If you have any questions, you can ask them right now. It'll be easier for me to read, but I'll try to go through. Yes, their grandchildren soon will curse the name of their forefathers. Yeah, absolutely. Team Mr. Sahbak. Talk about the Muslim Brotherhood. A little bit a quick one about the Muslim Brotherhood, guys. Muslim Brotherhood is, in some ways, the most accurate representation of how Islam truly is, without adaptation, without modernization, just how it started. That's why it's such a contagious thing. That's why Turkey is full on Muslim Brotherhood right now. Meanwhile, in America, they've just brought Muslim Brotherhood out of the law. And in many Arab countries, already been out of law for a long time. How can Turkey be Muslim Brotherhood? So not officially Muslim Brotherhood. They are. They're not officially categorized. Okay, Wikipedia didn't say it, but they're saying it. It's because whenever Islam chooses to go back to its roots, in Christianity, you had that term come to Jesus moment. You had a come to Jesus moment. He decided to abandon world pleasures and to focus on the kingdom of God, and to focus on the church, and to love thy neighbors as you love yourself, love thy enemy, turn the other cheek, be kind. That's come to Jesus. In Islam, when you have the come to Muhammad moment, it's go to Muslim Brotherhood. That's why it is so contagious. That's why their leaders, their elites, who kind of wake up one day to realize that Muslim Brotherhood means the next doom and destruction and genocide of Islam, and they fear it, so they don't want it to happen. I'll explain. Islam at its peak was conquering, colonizing, murdering, massacring, genociding, everything in its way, enslaving. And then one day, they've crossed Genghis Khan and the Mongols. You see, they expanded. I wish I could have been in that battle. When I was studying Islamic history and the history of the Middle East, that was one of the most fascinating lessons. They were going around with their Arab raiders, who are known to be very fast with their scimitars and their bows, and they were very, very efficient because they were just mobilized very fast in other ways, and they were just crushing it. Even the Crusaders were like backing up, falling back to Europe, and like regrouping. Persia fell down, and they expanded so much their empire that they reached Asia. And there was one battle there, because that was during the peak of the Mongolian Empire as well. So the Mongols also crushed it, went through the wall of China, went through it, and established a huge, Mongolian kingdom. And then these armies came and met. Bam! And in that first meeting, there was a skirmish of two of these forces. They fought. I can just imagine what an interesting battle that was. Asian tactics, Sun Tzu and his friends, and their, attire and weapons and technology and tactics and honor and martial arts, and they come and meet with this Arab Bedouins who are going right now raider Salah ad-Din and Ayyubi in all of his might, and these guys, bam, they meet. Allah Akbar, Hatori Hanzo, Harakiri, and they just go at one another. Bam, Saki, very good. They stopped. They pulled back. I think both empires came and said, you know what? It's we have enough right now. Let's focus on what we have. Later on, we can deal with this. And then Islam, who couldn't contain itself, decided to go and betray that alliance and went and attacked the convoy and several other. They committed an Himoto Nagasaki. They committed an Islamic harakiri on themselves and went and attacked the Mongols, attacked the Asians. The Asians went and did what they call until today the Muslim Holocaust. They went and they plundered and they slaughtered and they killed them all and they burned all their books and they plucked the eyes of their caliphates and their leaders and they just literally wiped them out. We're talking about a grand scale genocide that was barely ever seen, went and destroyed Islam. Only problem is that they converted in the process. And that's why you have today some pictures of the Prophet Muhammad looking like an Asian. Literally, there is pictures right now because they started doing their own painting. All of a sudden, they became Muslims. So it continued. It continued. There was a chance to save the world from that problem back then. It continued. So now, Islam is reaching the same point again, that it's very close to do the same mistake. Because they're irresponsibly entering the West. They're irresponsibly talking about what they want to do to the people in the West, how they want to do to your women, do to your children. And they're holding the sole stock and shareholders of global terrorism. There's 99% of terrorism around the world is Muslim. So they're like, by far have invested all their eggs in terrorism. They haven't left a place for anyone to enter that endeavor and buy stocks in the world of terrorism. They own it. And they're talking about going and attacking the West. So what's going to happen in the moment that they will wake up the ancient beast of the Vikings, of the samurais, of the ninjas, of the Maccabim, of the cowboys? What's going to happen? Of the El Chupacabra, of the Inca? What's going to happen? They will go and slaughter them. But that's probably going to happen in 25 years from now. So the elites in the Arab world, they see that Islam is incapable of leading with technology, of moving to the future. It's only capable of taking itself backwards. So it's never going to have the upper hand over science. It's never going to have the upper hand over advancement. They're not very good fighters or warriors. They're very good at women and our children. But whenever they face a real army, I mean, look at that. 2 billion Muslims and only Israel, and they can't handle it. Israel is like literally wiping the floor with them. And they're the one coming and trying to destroy Israel. So they are quite low on the food chain of fighters. They're quite low on the food chain. They're very low on the bottom when it comes to science, technology, innovation. They're very high in inbreeding and low IQ. Some of the dumbest countries in the world are Muslim countries. I'm not joking. And if you want to go and even check, let's say, in progressive Muslim countries like Syria and Lebanon, if you look at the IQ level in Syria and Lebanon, you'll find that the highest IQ has been held there by the Christians and the Druze. The lowest IQ in these Muslim countries are by the Muslims. Statistics, go and check it yourself. I'm not making this up. Yemen, one of the countries with the lowest IQ, Somalia. So the elites in the Muslim world know the price that they will pay, because they're smart enough, if they would let Islam play Islam. It always happened. They always go and pick up a war without intelligence behind it, and ended up having a little bit victory, which they see in their eyes, which is mostly slaughter, bloodbath, and killing and beheading. And then they end up facing, because that's what happened with the Mongols. I'm sure there was like a few Muslims that went there, Allahu Akbar, Takbir, and cut some heads and and went around, hey, Yamma, Yamma. If you could call his mom right now, I just killed a few Asians, all excited. The dumbest thing they could have done, because the Mongolians came and literally went harakiri on them and just obliterated them. Same like Israel did to Gaza. The dumbest thing. So obviously, they're going to repeat that again. And that is Muslim Brotherhood. So someone here asked me, what is Muslim Brotherhood? Muslim Brotherhood is the core, most accurate representation right now that we have of original Islam, along with ISIS and others. And it is very much supported by the common average Muhammad and Mustafa. It is very much objected by the elite in the Arab world, because they have been intelligent enough and have been exposed enough to Christianity and Western culture to start adapt some kind of a Western mentality in that aspect, and use logic and science aside from puberty level of emotions and emotion regulation and decision making. So they know that it's not good, and that's one of the main reasons that they're banning it and fighting it so hard. And that's one of the reasons that it's succeeding in the West. Why? Because there's no regulation over it in the West, because it goes against the freedom of speech and the values that the West is built on. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, the West is not compatible with Islam, because Islam will always take advantage of the West. And I'm talking a very big picture here. Yes, you can have a Muslim friend or a neighbor, or several of them, that will seem to adapt completely Western values and democracy and would love it. But the main problem is that they're still very, very contradicting themselves, because they will not go against Islam. So whenever the bells will ring and they will have to pick Islam, Sharia law, or Western value and democracy, most of the time they'll choose Islam, Sharia law, which means the complete destruction of your way of life. And the ones who will choose not to choose that are probably not Muslim anymore, or soon enough will get out of the closet, because it's very hard to stay ideology wise Muslim and not support the values that the Muslim Brotherhood or ISIS are standing on. And why is that? Because they're standing on clear, direct Muslim Quranish values. Here you go. Here you go. Anyway, guys, tomorrow's a big day. I'm doing the birthday party for my kid. He had his birthday a few days ago, and tomorrow is going to be the celebration that we're going to have with his friends. I went today and I bought, it looks like it's from Arc Raider, I know, but I bought, it's helium. It's helium. Party factory. And I'm going to do a lot of balloons. I'm going to be Mr. Balloons tomorrow. And I'm going to do some games and plays with the kids and try to give them a good birthday. Don't forget the shebang. What would I do without you, Phoenix? And yes, please. I'm so bad at the start of the show. If you have sticked until here and you want to help the show keep growing, and you want to help me keep making videos for you, go and check my Patreon, where you can find practical, direct, monetized way to support the work that I'm doing. It can start from $3 a month, which might be just one Starbucks for you. But for me, when it accumulates and more people do it, it literally gives me the income to keep doing this for you. Because after all, I did leave my previous job and a very good career to do this for you. And I never thought at the age of 43 I'll become a YouTuber. What's up, YouTube? Subscribe, hit the like, smash the button, and doing these things. Never. I didn't even have an email until I was 21, and didn't have any social media fingerprint until I was like almost 27. I was really much against these things. Tried Facebook for half a year, then closed it for several years. So I am from that generation that was very much against, not against, but not really into these things. But now I find myself living and breathing mainstream content and trying to break it down for you so it's not mainstream anymore, so you can understand actually what is happening And for this, if you want to help and support and be part of this movement, go to my Patreon, check it out, and find a way that fits you. And if you still want to help in any way, woohoo, for the birthday party, my goodness. K.P1139. Thank you so much. That's $50. Highly appreciated. I'm going to get Rafi something nice with that. Thank you so much. It's funny. The first time that I ever got a super chat or super like, or I'm not so sure how you call this. I was doing a live, and I was doing it live with Fizi Boblach, if you know it, Roy. I called him and said, "Hey, listen, buddy, I want to start doing lives. Can you jump in and let's just try and see how it works, and then I can do like a real proper live to the audience." So I didn't know that we went live. I thought we were going like still private. So we started doing testing, and I even called that episode Test. I think I still have it. And all of a sudden, as we're doing testing and trying to see how can I upload an image and what does it mean, which screen, who's talking what, I'm just teaching myself. Everything here I've taught myself. And then I look up and I see I had 280 people live watching us. And guys, 280 people. I come from university. I was an officer in the army. I know what it means public speaking. Like, it's not easy to get 280 people to stand or sit and listen, let alone for like 15 minutes in. And all of a sudden I say like, whoa. So I look at my friend and I said like, okay, Roy, we need to give them a show. Like, we need to talk about something. And they came here. All the people just gathered. It'll be a shame to send them home with not saying anything about, the conflict and the history and the military and stuff. So we started talking, and then I got a super thanks or super chat, whatever, like K.P1139 here. And then I was like, well, people can actually support financially by contributing through the chat. And the first thought in my head came like, what do I need to do now? Like, should I take my shirt off? should I start dancing? Like, how does this work? And then I realized my friend Roy was just cracking up. He says, no, man, that shows that people appreciate what you're doing and they want to support the work that you're doing. And some people choose to support like that. So thank you so much for this. And that just was a funny story to share about that. But yes, Phoenix, much, much appreciated, brother. Shukran, yahi. Don't forget, guys, to do the whole shebang. Do the like, share, subscribe. And for those of you who don't know what he wrote, Ronzloof just said, do a belly dancing. That's like an Arab. I'll do belly flop dancing here. Yeah, that's a good idea. Great idea. Then I'm sure I would have way more subscribers or way less subscribers after a belly dancing show. But just wanted to thank you guys for coming around, sticking around. And I just want to remind everyone, I'll be doing this show as much as I can. I'll give you $50 to keep your shirt on. That reminds me of that joke. Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings. Jamaica having a bobsleigh team. If you watch that movie, some people say, some might believe Jamaica have any bobsleigh team. So there's that point where they're trying to raise money. All right. Is it better now? Let's see. I think I fixed it. Yes. So what I was saying here is Cool Runnings. I'm going to say that joke. We're going to finish with that. So they're going around, and Jamaican guys want to have a bobsled, sliding team, and they decided to raise money. So they go and start doing music in the street, and they're singing. Some people say, some might believe Jamaica have any bobsled team, and they're trying to get money in the hats, and I don't know what. And all of a sudden, a homeless guy just walks by, and he gives him $1 and says, "I will give you $1 to shut up." That's what I think is gonna happen if I will start dancing here and taking my shirt off. $50 to turn the no, where was that? Someone made a very funny joke here. I would give you $50 to keep your shirt on. So yeah, cool runnings, cool runnings. But anyway, guys, stay safe. It was a pleasure. My voice is even nicer than before. And just remember, don't do anything stupid, and in general, don't do anything that I would do. See you next time.